Hey, welcome back, art fans. Today's lesson, we're going to talk about scratch art. This is the third video in our drawing unit on value and how value creates form. Without value, everything would look flat. So we're going to build on our past knowledge. The first video that we watched, we said that we talked about just practicing texture and using basic pen and ink techniques. And we had talked about hatching and cross hatching and just random marks, okay? And we had practiced that a little bit, and we said it was the ratio of ink to paper that is what controls the value. The next day, the second video was on creating form. And again, using our pen and ink techniques, adding value by building layers of our marks to create the texture. The closer the marks, the darker the value. The more space in between them, the more the value starts to open up. And we had two sizes of Sharpies to help us with that. Today's lesson, though, for scratch art, it's actually the opposite. This is a high grade, good quality artist paper. Maybe in elementary school you had the stuff with color underneath and you used a little wooden stick. Today we're going to be using more professional tools to help us with our scratch art. And I've got several examples to show you, but before I do that, I'm going to show you how to use these tools. Each of you, before you start on the final paper, you're going to get a little strip of paper that looks like this. And that's because this paper is very expensive. And it's the professional stuff. I also want to give you a chance to experiment with these tools. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but one of them is a very small, sharp triangle shape. The other one is also sort of triangular, but if you look at the sides, they're a little more rounded. The triangle gives you a much thinner mark, just like a ultra fine Sharpie did. And the rounded one is going to scrape away more ink, so that's going to give you a fatter line. So it's important that you exercise and practice with your tools a little bit. They're going to handle a little different than a Sharpie, okay? It's kind of like a pencil. The harder you press, the more you scrape away. So real light touch, you want to practice that. You want to practice pressing a little more. Maybe make some squiggly lines. Try to get control of that. Circles are going to be a little harder. It's not like a Sharpie. So my advice is to practice. Maybe write your name or the alphabet a couple times. Just see how that small triangular sharp one handles. And then you want to switch, and I want you to goof around a little bit, practicing with the more rounded point. See how much bigger the lines are? Okay. As you draw, you're probably going to find that to keep your hand comfortable and keep the movement more under control, you may actually have to rotate your artwork. Perfectly fine. That's absolutely a professional thing to do. So when you are ready, you are going to be working on your geometric shapes again. And again, just pick your favorite one. Here is an example of a triangle, or excuse me, a cone. It's not a triangle because it's rounded on the bottom. But if you look closely at this, this is different than pen and ink. Scratch art, you're actually revealing the highlight. You're not building the shadows because the paper is already black. So you're going to use your tools to scrape away the ink, just very gently, very lightly. You don't want to dig into the paper. You just want to remove the top layer that's ink. You'll notice that there is a texture for the table or a pattern. And the cast shadow, nothing has been removed. That's because it's already black. It's already dark. You'll notice that the highlight, everything has been scraped away, and then less and less and less. You'll notice here on the sphere, we still have the darkest crescent moon shape is the darkest value, so nothing was removed. Here's another version of a circle. The tabletop here, in this case, looks like wood grain. Here's one where the tabletop looks like a basket weave. Is this a little bit time consuming? Absolutely. All good things take time. This is about quality, not speed. Here we have a little bubble kind of pattern, I guess. You'll notice that the most scraping happened on the highlight surface. The vertical wall, that's the next closest to where the light's coming from, a little bit less. Even less on the dark side. So light, medium, dark. Those rules for making a three-dimensional box are still the same. Nothing has been removed from the cast shadow. So hopefully you understand that in scratch art, it's about removing the highlight, not building shadows, because the paper is already dark. All right, well, thank you, art fans. Happy drawing.